this general video about changing careers, midlife careers, and obviously changing to be a nurse. I've shot this video like a dozen times. This is one of the harder videos I've. Sorry, I just having trouble getting my thoughts in a cohesive manner. I've had a lot of recent friends, associates, just people also asking in general about making career changes. Sometimes it's not even their choice, and that's really what motivated this. There's a lot of people I know getting laid off, ushered out, pushed out, and they're later. Sometimes it's in a couple cases, rare cases. It's not rare cases, but a couple cases, it was relationship. They've had to redo themselves because the partner split with them, or more times than not, it's that was more the female side. They were stay-at-homes, or they've been out of the work environment raising children. We have a number of nurses actually that I guess are taking maybe like a 10-year hiatus at least, is what they've told me. They said, look, I'm finally pregnant. I'm married. I'm pregnant. Gonna be a mom first, and then maybe I'll come back and be a nurse later. I gotta think they will. I mean, just you once a nurse, you're always a nurse, and they're just still very young. I mean, by the time their kids are in grade school, and they're gonna be bored out of their minds, they'll still be in their 30s, I think, maybe the late 30s, but they'll be out of it by 10 years by that time. But still, you want to keep your skills sharp. That's something we were also saying about taking office jobs versus acute care. But that's going down that rabbit hole. But for a lot of people, or some of the, for some of the people that have been asking or talking to me, it is more a career change, a significant career change. Like for me, it was a significant career change. I came from manufacturing to nursing. no overlap whatsoever. Even in the engineering STEM side of that, I was not trained for that. I had to train on the job, basically engineering to that degree. I come from political science degree, ironically, and starting out pre-med and then switched over to poli-sci. So no STEM whatsoever for me. I mean, college STEM, but that doesn't count. Nothing real world. And I had to basically redo everything because basically nothing carried over from my degree previously. And that's really where a lot of people find themselves if they choose nursing, to go into nursing. You're going to be, because one nursing schools only take degrees or credits that are under 7 years old. That's first one. So this video is more about the hurdles that you're going to encounter if you choose to go into nursing. But I became a nurse at 50, so it's definitely not to say that you can't do it. If anything, I know people that became nurses just recently. I just spoke with someone. She became a nurse 54. So she probably decided to be a nurse at 50. I decided to be a nurse at 47, 46, in that range. I took my sweet time with it. The things, people say, hey, it's 2 years basically on average to get your nursing degree. If you want to do the 4-year BSN, I don't see why when you're our age to do that. When you're 18, 20, 22, yeah, I could see that because you're going to college. For us, a lot of us already went through college, or we're at a point in our lives that time is more of an issue, and I've touched that on that subject on a number of my videos, to not rush yourself. So I'll get to that a little later. But no matter how you slice it, it's not just 2 years. It is prereqs plus the 2 years of nursing school. Whether you do ADNs, accelerated BSNs, which pretty much average about 2 years. They're anywhere between, I think the fastest I saw was 14 months. The longest I saw for an accelerated BSN, I mean, it could be longer, but the longest I saw advertised was 26 months. So I'm just using 24 months as an average there. Diplomas are usually about that plus a little bit more because they're also doing prereqs, but they're really well trained. They're better trained than any of us because they're in the hospital day one, whereas we kind of gotta get ourselves in there, either after a semester or after a year. I know 4-year BSN students that they weren't even allowed to touch the patient until year 2. So I thought that was very odd, but that's the way it is because they have 4 years to really get them immersed. Whereas ADNs, very quickly, diplomas, you're right there. Accelerated BSNs, also, you're right there, basically. Maybe a class into it, and then you're in there. But again, that's an accelerated program, and that's very harsh. And still, again, every one of those routes, including the rare MSN route, you need your prereqs in a row. So you need to go do some college no matter what. So no matter what, you got to do some college degree stuff. Anatomy, microbiome, psych, maybe statistics and stuff like that. You're going to have to get and redo, even if you've done it, unless they were within that 7-year time frame. And usually, that means you're in your late 20s, maybe. Typically, people who are tuning in here and confronted with a seismic event of changing their careers, having to do that, because you have to. Usually older, we've got responsibilities, and that's code for children, right? Or debt. Same thing, right? You're forced into this. So time is a little bit of an essence, and that's where I come back to that is, be careful. Don't overload yourself. A lot of people say, well, they're just college degrees. College courses. I'll just blow through them. Be careful. Take them one at a time to begin with, until you're comfortable with the college curriculum, because it's different now. 1, it's different. 2, it's a faster pace. 3, it's a faster pace because we're older. So it's perceptual and it's actual. So be careful of those factors. Take it nice and slow for a semester or 2 until you get your feet under you and you understand what's going on. And then if you want to take 2 at a time or more, if you can afford it. That's another thing, is getting financial support, because it's different when you go to school. Most people go to school at 18, have their parents, helping them. You can stay with them and all that. You usually don't have kids in tow to watch for childcare, because guess what? Nursing might be a very caring profession, but we don't give a crap about each other. It's unfortunate, professors and fellow nurses. I try not to do that, not only say try, I don't do that because I see that, and it's very sad. We're very harsh with each other. I joke around being harsh, but I'm never harsh because I take a very paternal look at my nurses around me. I mean, it's rare that I come across a nurse that's older than me. In our 2 units out of 180 nurses or 150 nurses, there's 2 people I think that are older than me. One actually same age as me, I think, and one he's a couple years older. He's like 3 years older. And then you have 2 managers that are older than me. The rest of the managers are all like younger than my kids. So I take a very paternal look at my fellow nurses, and it saddens me that it's very harsh. So I'm going to forewarn you guys, it's not an easy profession to go into, because you're expecting different, I think women, whether regardless of the workplace, what I've seen, I've talked to my kids, there is an edge no matter where you go, right? But in nursing, you're expecting caring professionals, right? You're caring people. This is what you do for a living. How can you be mean? Well, they are. They're very mean. I think maybe a lot of it is just used up in the workplace, and then there's nothing left. I don't know. I mean, that could be a whole video on its own. But be aware of that, So, you've got childcare issues. Boo-hoo. They're not going to cut you any slack, because guess what? A lot of them also went through it. That's why, I'm a single parent too. This is the 3rd time I'm a single parent. No excuses for me. There's none, because guess what? I don't pat myself on the back. How many of my preceptors, well, not my preceptors, but a lot of my coworkers, were also single parents, putting themselves through college, putting themselves through nursing school, putting themselves through orientation precept, and becoming the nurses they are today. It is hard. It is very difficult. Is it rewarding? Emotionally, I find it rewarding. A lot of people don't find it rewarding enough. But it is good pay. It is steady work. As long as you keep yourself clean, you keep yourself focused, you're not doing any monkey business, it's a career that you retire in. It's a long career. I have known nurses that have not, and they were ushered out. So you're not immune. You're not, above anything. You still are held to standards of care, standards, legal standards, moral standards, ethical standards. And if you can't adhere to that, then you're going to be found out and you're going to be eliminated. That's one good aspect of being harsh with each other. We keep each other very sharp. And in that sense, we're tempered. We're tempering ourselves, each other all the time. But it is harsh. A lot of people aren't ready for that. And a lot of the newer generation, younger generation, definitely aren't ready for that because they're being challenged for the first time. They're being, there is no consolation prize. There is a first, second, third, and last. That's the way it is. So the older generation, we're used to that. Came in last so many times, it's not funny, right? Bench warmer. That's the way it is. It's okay. Newer generations, younger generations tend to expect something more. I've seen that. Now, I say that for my own kids. And it's not that way in the real world. At least that gives us, older generation, an advantage. Some of you guys at 35 or mid-30s or whatever say, I'm not that old, dude. That's okay. That's okay. But guess what? To the 22-year-old, 24-year-old, you're ancient history. Me, they're wondering how I'm breathing and moving around. They're like, oh, well, you should be in this bed. We should run an IV on you, right? 54, they're like, oh my God, you're gonna retire tomorrow? So 35, they're like, wow, they're a grizzled old person. You're gonna see that delineation. There's the 22-year-olds, 24-year-olds that are brand new, and then the rest of us are old hags. We're all ancient history. Nursing has those ups and downs, but it is very, very rewarding emotionally. But going back to the original part of the video where I was saying that, one of the motivations I had for making this video is I see a lot of friends and associates being laid off and just they're looking for a new career. In that sense, nursing is very stable. It is pretty well paying, but it's a long slog to become a nurse. You expect to set aside at least 2.5 to 3.5 years. It shouldn't take you 4 years, in my opinion, but it took me 3.5 years because I took my sweet ass time. Most people, I think, have done it in 3 years, what I've seen on average. Some faster than that. And if you happen to have the right credits and classes, it could just take you whatever time to apply and then get through. But usually when we're past 35, any age past that, your college days are way past you. And chances are you're going to have to retake them all. So expect to put in like a year and a half in prereqs. Don't try to double up on the really hard classes. You could double up on, let's say, anatomy 2 and psych, or maybe statistics and micro. Yes, and those are the easier courses. I'm calling stats one of the easier courses. Micro, anatomy, are the hard courses. There's just so much brunt, hardcore information there that it's difficult to absorb it. It's not difficult material. None of it's difficult, in my opinion. It's easier for me. I'm Asian, right? But it's the matter of the amount of information, and it doesn't get easier. This is something I said to my daughter when she was going through nursing school. It doesn't get easier but it's not going to get significantly harder too. It's not like, oh my God, there's the mountain. I was like, yeah, you've been climbing. You're a third of the way up. Look down. And she's like, what do you mean? I was like, look at nursing 1 stuff. Can you do that now? I think we were talking, she was nursing 2 or 3 at the time. And she's like, yeah, that stuff is easy. It wasn't when you started. It gets easier because you get better. Okay. So you will improve. You will get stronger. You will get smarter, if you want to say it that way. You want to get faster, whatever. You're going to get better. So take a grain of salt with the fact that nursing is difficult. You're going to get stronger. It's like working out. You're going to get stronger. You're going to be able to lift the heavier weights. You're going to be able to do more reps. You're not going to always be at 20 pounds and, 10 reps. One day you're going to be at 80 pounds doing 6 reps. Okay? So take heart in the fact that there will be progress. Okay? And the one thing is, don't misinterpret the professors trying to fail you as they hate you. They're trying to fail you because they want to keep their jobs. That's ironic. But your success or failure is tied to their jobs. If you fail, they get fired. So there's a reason for their thinking and the way they do things. They want to make sure when you actually take NCLEX, you're gonna pass. I've said that to a couple of people about my alma mater, and a couple of people were. One person was actually a little shamed, and I was like, no, I came from the same school. And one thing we were talking, she was like, NCLEX was really easy. I was like, yeah, we're prepared. We are prepared up to kazoo. No problems. I haven't heard of anybody from my school having trouble with it. It was because they make sure you're ready. Because they want to keep their certification. They want to keep their jobs. So one thing a lot of people worry about the difficulty in nursing school is because they're tempering you. They're getting you better. So don't always take that as an attack. I think older, it's easier to understand that. But the younger, they're like, it's personal. They don't like me. I said, they don't know you. They don't care enough about you, no offense, to dislike you. Whereas older, we're used to our parents smacking us. So you do something wrong, pow. It's like, here's a dose of honesty and, wake the F up. Whereas the younger crowds are, they're like, they take it as a personal attack. It's nothing personal. World doesn't care about you. World doesn't care about us. We know that. We're adults. We understand. The world doesn't give a crap about us. It just wants to move forward, and we can just get along, hop on for a ride or not, But this video is more for, like, I guess, reassuring, and I've been having trouble shooting it because I wasn't quite sure how to voice it, but it was more of a, I guess, emotional support, because I try to do it and give it to a lot of people that came to me with doubts, nursing students, potential nursing students, young nurses, when I say young nurses, I mean grad nurses. They just graduated or they're just starting out. Because some of them are very old. No offense, they're like my age. They're a few months younger than me. I actually met one that was older than me. So it comes in all shapes and sizes. But that's what I mean when I just said that. New nurses, let's say that. It's more, I guess, encouragement. Don't hang in there. Maybe you find yourself at a crossroads in life, and maybe this is an opportunity. And that's the way I always look at it. Try to look for a silver lining. You make one up if you have to, okay? And nursing is a good profession. My only regret is I didn't do it earlier. And I think most nurses that become nurses at our age or close to our age say the same thing. They're like, the only regret I have is I didn't start earlier. Should have started earlier. The younger nurses regret ever coming into the profession, period. They're like, this is too much. This is work. I was like, guess what? Being a barista isn't much better, and it's a lot lower pay. So we understand work. We understand sacrifice, whereas some other generations might not. Good luck. If you have any questions, critiques, comments, suggestions. I take them all. All right? Good luck.